Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC 325 Volkanovski versus Lopes 2. So, without further ado, let's get to our first card on the fight. Yeah, first fight on the card. Our first card on the fight. Either way, we get into our first something. So, in our first fight, we have in the flyweight division, we got Nakamura, Batbayar versus Aaron Tao. Low confidence Batbayar to beat Tao. Not going to give too much thought and breath to these low-level fights right here. Don't think either guy will do well in the UFC. But Batbayar seems like the more well-rounded guy. Only thing about Batbayar I don't like is the fact that he has not really been around. And guys like him can, face adversity or just fall flat on their face when they are tested, when a guy doesn't give up. And that's pretty much all Tao is. Tao doesn't really have too much skill. Doesn't really have too much brains, but he's tough as hell, hard to put away, and yeah, he'll be there. He can potentially beat it with you all these rounds. And Batbayar, having a guy that he can't put away, might again fall flat on his face when it's time to really push it deep into the fight because he hasn't really been there. He hasn't really been in with a guy like Tao. But yeah, I'll say decision for Batbayar. That's the I just think Batbayar is a better overall fighter. I think he's a fighter that can actually grow. I feel like Tao just could sit, he's just comfortable being that meathead, pretty much. Like tough and durable, but never really improving his actual skills or working on his fight IQ. It's just about being tough. It's about being scrapped. It's just about let's just bleed, bro, and just showing his heart. Showing his heart and his heart of a warrior or whatever. That's really what I see about him. I don't really see a guy that can really elevate. Batbayar can elevate a little bit, but his ceiling's still very low as well. So this is not a fight I'm going to feel particularly comfortable about or care about. But I would say Batbayar, at least at the very least, is a guy looking to improve and evolve as a fighter and seemingly more around it. So in this one, I got Nakamura Batbayar via decision. Next fight we have in the bantamweight division, the tournament championship for. That's too much word. I'm just like you get it. You can read. Now, why is he assaulting us? No, I'm just saying, I'm just not trying to waste too much breath on these low-level fights where guys that I don't really see going very far in their career. It's just honest truth. But yeah, Sulangragbo versus Louis. Low confidence Sulangragbo to beat Louis. Louis seems like a solid striker, but I haven't seen his overall skill set. And Sulangragbo seems like the more well-rounded, more mature fighter here. So I'll lean him here by decision. So in this one, I got Sulangragbo via decision. Again, not gonna give too much thought. Next one we got in the featherweight division, we got Sebastian Szlay versus Teixeira Nakamura. Going low confidence, Sebastian Szlay to beat Teixeira Nakamura. I think Nakamura, solid fighter. But I think Sebastian Szlay is just a more polished, more UFC level fighter. Not to say that he's some elite level UFC fighter, but he has UFC level like IQ, kind of like lower level. Can mix it up pretty well. And when faced with adversity, he's shown that he can deal with it, mix it up, or let the fight play out a little bit, get his wits about him, and make decisions on the fly, even when faced with adversity. I like that from him here, where I feel like Teixeira Nakamura is really a straightforward fighter, this kill. And I feel like Szlay can exploit that, get on his bite, land his shots. Nakamura gets a little over-aggressive, can level change, get the takedowns, and get this fight a smart fight and beat Nakamura here. So in this one, I have Sebastian Szlay via decision. Next one we got in the lightweight division, we got Domar Fan versus Sang-Woo Kim. And this one I just think Domar Fan's younger. I feel like he's fought better competition. They're very similar fighters. But I just think, again, Domar Fan just has more upside to get better. He's fought better fighters during that tournament, including the fighter who I think was the last person to beat Kim. And he's younger. Similar skill set. I think trains at a better gym. More upside. And I'll say decision. I think they'll match each other pretty evenly here. But Domar Fan just, again, for better competition. I favor that. Younger, more upside. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So in this one, I got Domar Fan via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Ofli versus Yizha. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Yizha to beat Ofli. So, really what worries me here a little bit is the grappling of Ofli. If this gets to the ground, Ofli can definitely have great grappling success. I don't really like Ofli's offensive takedown ability too much, but his grappling is pretty solid. And his striking is underrated, but I do think that Yizha is the better, sharper striker here. And And I think his takedown finish should hold up enough. So I'll lean him here to get a decision. I don't think he'll be able to finish Ofli. I don't think Yizha's really that level of fighter in my honest opinion. So I don't think he'll finish Ofli. But I do think he'll be able to address the grappling enough and then be the sharper, more consistent striker on the feet and be able to beat Ofli here to a decision victory. So in this one, I got Yizha via decision. Easy. Next one we got in the welterweight division, we got Jonathan Micallief versus Oban Elliot. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Jonathan Micallief to beat Oban Elliot. And I feel like Micallief brings a very similar style to the last fighter who just beat Oban Elliot. And Micallief is showing evolution. But you can't write Oban Elliot off so much with any good confidence because Elliot, was a very bright prospect in his weight class and still is a very bright prospect in his weight class. And these are both very bright prospects as of right now. What the future holds, we do not know. But as of right now, these are both still very bright prospects in the weight class. So if Elliot can address the takedown, this fight definitely opens up a lot for him. And I think he's a significantly better striker here. And also, if Elliot can start to get his own takedown in this fight, this opens up a lot because then you put a grappler on his back, then that demoralizes them. And then the fight opens up a lot, maybe even more so than the striking success. But, yeah, I'll leave Micallief here. I feel like I have to see Elliot. If Elliot wins this fight, then I can really start to say things about, he may improve about it. I'm not in the gym with him. I'm not getting any insider clues, so I can't say whether he's filled this up or filled that up. But he's a young fighter. I'm pretty sure he's making good adjustments. And again, Micallief's going to have to deal. He can't expect the same guy that just lost his last fight. He got to expect a guy that looked the way he looked prior to his last fight, which was a loss, and looked as good as he looked prior to his last loss. Like, you got to expect the best Oban Elliot and better. The best in the better. So, but I think Micallief will be to mix it up, grind out decision over Oban Elliot. Probably a close fight, maybe a split decision, but Micallief ultimately the pressure, the takedowns, be able to edge a close fight against Elliot here. So in this one, I got Jonathan Micallief via decision. Now the next fight we have in the middleweight division, we got Jacob Malkoun versus Torres Finney. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go low confidence Torres Finney to beat Jacob Malkoun. So I think Malkoun. Well, I'm not gonna say like obviously it's a close match. Obviously, I think Malkoun's still the favorite right now. But I go with Torres Finney. He has the lower center of gravity. He has the more surprise upside. I've been saying, for a good minute now, him trying to train with this fighter, train with this striker. Whether it's been any bit fruitful, we'll see. But it's like he's been trying to get out of his comfort zone and work on the weakest area of his game. And it's not like Malkoun's some scarier striker. Malkoun has fought better competition. He did arguably beat Brendan Allen like 4 years ago. But as of lately, he hasn't really been doing much. Finney's been active. Finney's been hungry. I have not been saying Malkoun do anything. I have not been saying nothing on social media. Him training this, training that. I have not seen him in the octagon. Whereas Finney has been active. I like activity. They're both similar fighters. And again, Finney like he's been testing himself. Where I have not seen Malkoun. I feel like Malkoun probably been training at the same gym, training with the same people, and not really getting outside of his comfort zone. Not really testing himself, but just more so to stand in his pocket and also being inactive in that pocket. So I'm leaning to the guy, who has upside right now and who has been active in Finney, especially as the underdog here. Well, at least currently underdog to win this fight, and also having that lower center of gravity. Malkoun going to really get low to get these takedowns, whereas Finney is already going to be right at Malkoun's hip. And also with that lower center of gravity, because see Malkoun now mixing in his more evolved striking and being able to hit Malkoun with shots he don't see because he's had to look down to even punch Finney. And when you try to look down, you might look down and dip his head right into a punch from Finney. Might get cracked, might get slapped, might get rocked. By the way, I think that could have a significant factor in the fight or a significant play on the fight, on the scorecard as well. And I see Torres Finney win a close fight, with that lower center of gravity, with the fact that he's been active and having activity and trying to improve and just working a little bit harder than Malkoun here and surprising with Malkoun with some of his improvements here. But a very close fight, but Finney getting his hand raised in the decision victory. So in this one, I got Torres Finney via decision. Now to the next fight we have in the middleweight division, we got Cam Rowston versus Cody Brundage. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'll go average confidence Cam Rowston to beat Cody Brundage. And Brundage's takedown offense is not really no threat. I think Rowston will be able to address it. It's never like Brundage has ever used his wrestling offensively against anyone to, as far as in the UFC at any respectable level, to win a fight or show any great takedown accuracy, good top control. And Rowston has been improving his grappling a lot, so I think he'll be able to address the grappling of Brundage pretty easily or without much issue. I think he'll respect it, come in, address it very well. Then on the feet, I think Cam Rowston is the superior striker. I think he'll be the breakdown Brundage, maybe even club and sub him. But I'll say second round TKO. I think Brundage will make it out the first round. But ultimately, I just think Rowston's going to be too sharp from on the feet, address the grappling, break him down, and stop him in the second round. So in this one, I got Cam Rowston via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Junior Tafa versus Billy Elekana. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence, Billy Elekana to beat Junior Tafa. So yeah, Billy Elekana is a pretty solid fighter, well-rounded. He can strike, he can grapple, he can move. He's not a low IQ bum. It's like he has pretty decent IQ. Pretty decent toughness. Toughness to be a little bit better, but I think that'll grow. But other than that, Junior Tafa is a striker and not even that good of a striker. And on top of that, he got bad cardio. And on top of that, no grappling and not showing any improvement or any growth or any real effort to or significant. Maybe he's trying it to train it on that side, but as far as actual growth or any notable improvement, it's not really translating. So whether he's trying or not, it's not translating. And Billy Elekana has shown that he could mix in the takedown, get the grappling in. And that's what he's going to do. I think he might try to play the striking a little bit, just on the distance a little bit. Fill Tafa out. But ultimately, his approach is going to be to get it to the ground. And I don't think he's going to have any great issue getting it to the ground. And then once he gets it to the ground, I think it'll be easy work. And I think he'll get a sub. So I think he'll drag him out the first round. And then second round, take him down pretty early in the round. Start to pound him out. And then set up a submission and tap him out in the second round early. So in this one, I got Billy Elekana via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, we got Sallkild versus Jamie Mullarkey. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence, Sallkild to beat Jamie Mullarkey. So I can just make this one very short. Both solid fighters. Mullarkey's experience is definitely there, like a bit much a factor. But his chin is also very much a factor, or his lack of chin is very much a factor. And I just feel like Sallkild is just a younger, better version of Mullarkey with more upside to, maybe go further in the sport than Mullarkey did. Obviously, he hasn't reached where Mullarkey has reached yet, but just seemed like a younger, better version here. Let's see how much younger he is. I don't think he's super younger than him, but younger enough. 5 years? 5 years is a lot when you really think about it in MMA. Because 5 years could be 35 versus 40. Like, you still at the end of your prime versus 40, like, washed. Or something. Or you were the champion 5 years ago. Now you've been losing for 5 years. So 5 years can be a significant thing. So, yeah, Sallkild, I think he's the sharper striker. Mullarkey, I'll probably give him a grappling advantage, but I don't think it's like a usable grappling advantage. Or because Sallkild is got good takedown space, he could grapple himself as well. So, yeah. I'll give Mullarkey a slight grappling advantage, but I think Sallkild will be addressed that. And on the feet, I just think Sallkild's a sharper striker. And Mullarkey's chin has a lot of mallets. So I'll say first round TKO for Sallkild here. So in this one, I have Sallkild via first round TKO. Now to the next fight we have in the heavyweight division, we got Tuivasa versus Teixeira. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Teixeira to beat Tuivasa. There's really mainly upside. Tuivasa's career really is done. There's really not no more upward trajectory. Again, he could beat Teixeira here, but as far as do we really see him in the heavyweight picture, no. We see him with the Jelton Almeida, the Sergey Pavlovich, the Alexander Volkovs of the world, the Cyril Gans anymore, the Aspinalls. His career is pretty much done. Like, he could probably pull off upset, but not like a upset against Teixeira, as obviously as Derek Lewis did as well. But I just feel like Teixeira has more upside. I feel like he's gonna learn from that loss against Derek Lewis. He's gonna pick his shots well, maintain his distance, break down Tuivasa, and did get a second round TKO. But definitely a low confidence fight. This fight is very much open, but I'll leave it to you. But either way, I think this fight, the one thing that I think is very confident about this fight does end by KO. A lot of times these big heavyweight fights don't end by KO, but this one ends by KO. Because it's not like either guy particularly has defense. At least in some other fights. And also not like, Tai Tuivasa. I'm not going to say Teixeira, but Tuivasa is not really scared. Like I said, he'll go for the knockout or get knocked out. He's not going to be one of those guys he don't even have the ability to fight safe or fight tentative. Like, he just kill or be killed. So someone will get knocked out in this fight. But I think it will be Tuivasa here. And I think Teixeira will be able to use his height and reach this time. And not, run, smother his own punches, smother the range, trying to chase a finish here. I think he'll just maintain the distance better than he did in that last fight. Learn from that fight. Maintain the distance. Break down Tuivasa. And I'll say first round TKO late for Teixeira. So in this one, I got Teixeira via first round TKO. Now to the next fight we have in the lightweight division, we got Fiziev versus Mauricio Ruffy. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Mauricio Ruffy to beat Fiziev. So yeah, I think Fiziev is the more technical striker, more accomplished, more high level striker here. But I think Ruffy will be more diverse, and I think he'll be able to use the tape. I think it's a clearer path to victory against Fiziev, where he has shown signs of fading and losing fights, based off his fading issue. Like, he has faded in a number of fights. Both Gaethje fights he faded. What other fight? It's been a couple, but particularly the Gaethje fight stick out. Even the Bobby Green fight, he won that fight, arguably lost, but fading. It's been multiple fights where he has faded. Like, those three, and I think at least probably two others, but whether he won or lost the fights, he has faded in the later rounds of those fights. But yeah, I think Ruffy will mix it up more than Fiziev, like mixing the martial arts more, mixing the takedown more, mixing crafty takedowns, be a little bit flashy, be longer. Fiziev probably winning the earlier rounds is, and also I can see this fight being like a controversial split decision or a controversial decision. Otherwise, it's a very close fight, but I do see Ruffy getting his hand raised. I think Fiziev will win the earlier round, but I do think he start to slow down. I think Ruffy will start to take over, start to pick up the pace, pick up the tempo, and be flashy. And that flashiness can help. Like, whether shots land or not, somebody do a jumping, spinning roundhouse kick, and it lands, and like you fully block it, but it knocks you off balance, or lands, gives a heavy thwop or something to it. The judge is still gonna be receiving it like it's it's something that landed. So I think Ruffy will just be flashy, be more active as the fight goes on, and I think Fiziev pace starts to dip off. And I also think Ruffy will start to mix in a lot of different crafty little takedown attempts, whether he gets them or not, just to keep Fiziev thinking about different things throughout the fight. And all this thing just wearing him down and slowing his pace down is a guy in Fiziev who has shown that ability, not shown that ability, but shown that tendency to slow down and dip off. Maybe it could be similar to the Rose Namajunas fight. Not saying they're the same exact fight, like the Rose Namajunas versus what's her name, Natalia Silva fight, where Rose was, again, she was seemingly the more technical fighter early, but she dipped off in the fight, and Natalia Silva was able to pick up the tempo when Rose was slowing down, and that was a big factor to why she won the fight. But yeah, similar path I kind of see here, generally speaking, but Ruffy doing more work down the stretch, and ultimately that's what went into the fight. So in this one, I got Mauricio Ruffy via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our co-main event in the lightweight division, we got Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint-Denis. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go low confidence Benoit Saint-Denis to beat Dan Hooker. Tough test. I could definitely see Dan Hooker catching with something and putting his lights out early. But ultimately, Dan Hooker is another guy that has fading issues. He can be broken down to the pressure and has been broken down to pressure a lot of times, whether it be striking pressure, grappling pressure, just pressure in general. Pressure definitely shows that Dan Hooker is not truly no diamond. And also was shown in the fight against Diamond Poirier. Like, he was looking great early, but when you look at the fourth and fifth, although this fight don't have no fourth and fifth round, but in the fourth and fifth round, it seemed like he was just surviving mostly against Poirier. And this another fighting in the Paul Felder fight, he was seemingly kind of just surviving, particularly in the fifth round against Paul Felder. But Benoit Saint-Denis will bring championship pressure for all rounds. Just in his face, dare to be hit. But if he doesn't get knocked out, if he doesn't lose, he wins, basically. But yeah, that's pretty much how you explain Benoit Saint-Denis. Like, if he can take the shots and just keep going and stay in his face, I think he breaks Dan Hooker down, eventually secures a takedown, and heavy top pressure, just breaking Dan Hooker down. This will be like the bootleg Armand fight, where Armand just like technically broke down Dan Hooker, got a takedown and just smashed him and dominated him. Benoit is not as skilled or as technical, but it'll be the ugly patchwork version. Like I said, he might take some shots. It might be a little bit rough, but he'll get there somehow, some way. Get through Dan Hooker, get into Dan Hooker, get him down, break him down over the course of the fight, and then I think Dan Hooker, again, that tendency to just be surviving and holding on in later rounds. And then Benoit fully capitalized on that, just drop a heavy ground and pound, busting Hooker up, and then submits him in the third round. So in this one, I got Benoit Saint-Denis via third round submission. Now to our main event, we have in the featherweight division for the undisputed UFC featherweight championship, a rematch between reigning champion Alexander Volkanovski versus Diogo Lopes 2. And how do I feel about this one right here is I'll go average confidence Alexander Volkanovski to beat Diogo Lopes 2. Beat Diogo Lopes 2. But I want to say beat Diego Lopes again. But yeah, I haven't really seen I didn't see no great improvement. As a matter of fact, I didn't see any improvement in his last fight against John Silva. He landed a nice spinning elbow, but his defense looked even worse against John Silver than it did against Volkanovski. It was only like what, maybe like 3 minutes of striking or 4 minutes, however, not that much minutes of like pure striking. And he was getting his head bounced around the cage. Eventually, he saw that Lopes just kept loading up, and he tied him with a spinning elbow. But other than that, he was getting picked apart on the striking. He still was not moving his head. He was getting hit with clean shots at will. And it's not like he's going to be able to take down Volkanovski like he did John Silver early in their fight. Volkanovski, been with Islam. Islam couldn't barely take him down. Islam barely could hold him down. So Lopes ain't going to be the guy to take him down and hold him down. Hey, he might be able to get a takedown. He might be able to have some success there, but nothing great or nothing that significant, I don't think. But yeah, I don't really see that in his future as far as the grappling success here. I could see him catching and put Volkanovski out. That's definitely on the table. I'm not saying to count him out at all. Like, he could definitely knock him out, catch him something as he did in the last fight. But maybe this time he catches him and Volkanovski don't wake up. Or this time it puts Volkanovski out. But other than that, I have not seen no improvement. I think Volkanovski still will box his head off. Also, again, Volkanovski has done well in rematches against better fighters. Well, I think outside of the Islam fight, and again, that was a fight he lost. So he lost the first fight, he lost the rematch. But fights that he's won the first fight, he typically wins the rematch as well. I mean, fights that he won the first fight, he wins the rematch as well. It's not even typically. He hasn't lost a fight in which he won the first fight, and then he ever had a rematch. He has not lost a fight that he's won the first fight. So, yeah, Lopes got a puncher's chance, but I have not. Basically, to sum it up, I have not seen no improvements. As far as an octagon, I have not seen any improvements. He's a tough, scrappy guy. He's willing to take risks, but technically, I have not seen any improvements. And going there with a guy like Volkanovski, you're not going to just beat him by just purely being tough, or you can't really trust yourself to just pick against him just because a guy is tough. Like, what else do you got? Where's the technical improvement? What approach are you going to do? What's the game plan? And I have not seen that. Like, Lopes is live, but as far as just from outside of a puncher chance thing, I can't lean Lopes. That's all I'm saying. So, Volkanovski is the side. Lopes can win. Lopes has the value, but as far as looking at this from actual analytics and actual analysis, Volkanovski, is your guy. So that's what I'm going on. Volkanovski is your guy. I don't just lean to purely puncher chance, unless it's a super, super valid puncher chance. Something like that. But yeah, I see Volkanovski, really rinse and repeat of the first fight. Obviously, there'll be some differences here, but I see a very similar fight. Very much similarities here. Volkanovski jabbing him, inside leg kicking him, walking him into overhands, and Lopes just swinging and missing and just, losing. So, in this one, I got Alexander Volkanovski via decision. And so, that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC 325, Volkanovski versus Lopes 2. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.